So welcome, everybody. I woke up the other morning and was trying to get my son, Lamai, out of bed and get him ready for school, and wasn't feeling well, was quite grumpy, and stumbled to the kitchen as I was trying to figure out breakfast for him. And as a typical 16-year-old does, as typical 50-something-year-olds do. As I stumbled into the kitchen with him, and he looks at me and says, "I think God's punishing me for something I did." And I looked at him and said, "That God you don't believe in? How come all of a sudden you get punished by this deity you profess not to believe in?" And it's so rooted in our beings, in our society, in our culture. We go, "Oh, God's given me this. Oh." Even when we say we don't believe in a God. Why is this happening to me? What karmic debt am I paying? Some of my friends who are atheist often say to me, "Well, I don't believe in God." And I ask them, "What's this God you don't believe in? Describe it to me." Right? And they often will describe what we've all heard. They don't believe that there is a deity up in the sky or anywhere else that is watching everything we do, that is judging us and condemning us to a life of pain or torture or a disease because of some behavior. Means they don't believe that there's a God up in the sky managing every little detail on earth, whether you are born or when you die, and what your job is, and who you marry, and when you're going to meet. And I frequently look at them and say, "I don't believe in that either." And when I was contemplating this whole series, this whole Lenten series of giving up God, giving up our concept of God, our idea of God, I often thought about it, pondered it, going, what does this mean? What am I giving up? And the struggle, the time in the wilderness has been beneficial for me. It's been an opportunity. I know the music team has just been, "Oh, really, Reverend Ken? Really? We can't say the word?" I know our prayer chaplains have been like, "Really? Can't say the word?" And it's been an opportunity to stretch beyond our comfort zone, our default words, and to examine what we mean by when we say them. I don't think God's punishing me. I think God's punishing me. God gave me this. All those words we say unconsciously, all of a sudden become conscious. All of a sudden we have the opportunity to examine our thoughts and beliefs and to hold them up to a different light. So I went to Merriam-Webster, and the definition of atheist is one who believes that there is no deity. One who believes that there is no deity. And I went, wow, I'm an atheist. Your minister is an atheist. All right. Because let's be clear, don't believe that there is a deity up on the clouds. Not there. There's not a being itself sitting up in heaven looking down on us and creating it. Because first off, when that concept was created in humankind, the earth was the center of the universe. So God was sitting up over us on earth, right? Well, we are just a little blue dot, if you look at that painting. We're just a little tiny blue dot in this endless cosmos, right? So where would be the center that God was standing over? It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work and hasn't for a long time. So I got to thinking about this idea. You know, we all learn things. So why do we always default to that man in the sky? Or for some of us that went through this time when I first heard the concept in unity of mother God, father and mother God, I was like, oh, that's so cool. The divine feminine, and it's so wonderful, and I jumped into this idea. But it's the same thing, just changing gender, as Laura talked to us about cutting off penises this morning. Now God's a female. There's some other things that are involved. But it's all that fixation on a being rather than beingness itself. Right? God is neither male or female. Wow. What is God then? I don't know. What is God? I don't know. What is God? Can we sit in a question? Can we sit in the question? We learn things quite interestingly as human beings. Neuroscientists and developmental scientists now tell us all kinds of amazing ways that our brain works and that our brain is rewired. And part of this journey that I'm asking us to participate in is a fundamental rewiring of our brains, to change our beliefs at core. Because we inherited these beliefs from a very, very young age, right? When we were really, really little, like those children we talked about blessing this morning, we learned about the whole world through flashcards, right? Remember, C is for camel, and all of a sudden an instant picture of a camel would appear in our mind, and for cow, and for dinosaur, and for duck. All of those images and those words and those sounds all got impressed into our mind, into our brains. And we learned not only that the picture meant the word, but that when we said the word, it meant the picture, right? That when I said duck to you, then you'd have a mental picture appear in your brain that would fire, and you'd see an image of a duck, and you'd know what I was talking about, right? It went in one way, and then it comes out the other way. It's this two-way neuron street going on. Fascinating, right? But this is the flashcard we all got for God. Right? This is Michelangelo's God, painted on the ceiling, making Adam. And so this is the image that was imprinted for many of us as the divine God. Wow. That takes some rewiring. That takes some conscious effort to undo. And I really find it very interesting that we get to do that. When I say the word God, before I became a minister, as I studied to be a minister, and today, I know I mean something different than that flashcard. I know most of you in the room mean something different than that image I just showed you. But it sometimes still lands that way in our own minds and in the minds of other people. It's how we learn. And so this experiment for this 40 days, this 40 days in our wilderness, has been just that, an opportunity to change ourselves at core, to change whatever is left of that childhood imitation card imagining of what God is, and own, to breathe into, and to be able to articulate a new understanding, so that when somebody says the word, you don't see the man in the sky anymore. You see the principle, the personal relationship to God within. To God within. It's quite an amazing journey. It's quite an incredible challenge, but I think one worth doing. And I'll tell you why. In the Synoptic Gospels, which are the Gospels of Mark, Matthew, and Luke, the first three Gospels written, and they were written very similarly, they share a story. They share a story in Jesus' life when Jesus is baptized in the River Jordan by John the Baptist, right? He's baptized, and the first thing that happens after he's baptized, after he's taken on his new identity and his new name and his new mission, he goes out into the wilderness for 40 days of silence and fasting. 40 days. Well, we have just taken on a new mission. We have started on this new journey. We have taken on this new identity as Unity of San Francisco, and we're going through our time in the wilderness. What's so fascinating about all of those gospel stories, and each of the gospel stories, they're slightly different because each author changed them to his own liking. But in all of them, it's very common that, you know who shows up to Jesus in the wilderness? Not God. Satan. In all of the stories, that's what shows up. Negative thinking. What shows up is the doubt. What shows up is the opportunity to change. Because in that story from Mark and Matthew and Luke, Satan tempts Jesus. There is absolutely no mention of him being visited by Spirit, by God, getting revelations of the divine. What he's challenged with is what he doesn't want. What he's challenged with is what he doesn't like. What he's challenged with is those embedded thoughts. He's saying, well, if you're hungry, turn this rock into bread. Right? If you think you're all that, if you're all that powerful, let me show you what I can give you. I'm going to show you the whole world. Satan takes him up to the mountaintop, shows him the whole world, and says, all this can be yours if you remain with me. And then he takes him to the top of the temple and says, throw yourself off and let this God save you. Let the divine angels catch you. And Jesus said, no. It's not what I'm here for. He chose differently. Chose to see his life differently. That's the message that I take away from that, is that he chose to step out of negativity, step out of worrying about what it was supposed to look like, right? Into what it is. Knowing that he was taken care of. Today, we have that opportunity again. When we hear the word God, we get to step out of that flashcard and see something different. We get to step out of the flashcard and see our own divinity within. I see your halo. I see your halo. Misa was singing it so wonderfully. And she sang at the beginning of the song, I don't know if you caught the lyrics, but it says, feels like the walls are tumbling down, and they make not a sound. The walls are tumbling down. The walls of the Word of God. And you see that flashcard. When those come tumbling down, I can see your halo. There's not a God up in the sky, pointing, judging, condemning, giving, but there is divinity within you, changing you, lifting you, transforming you. You know, when it becomes that personal, when God becomes that enmeshed with you, then you know that God hears your every prayer. Where else is God? You're not praying to a God in the sky. You're praying to right here. The consciousness of the divine within you, which can transform you. You know that God sees your every move because you are one with that God, with the divine. And there's no place that you can go and escape you. Because you are it. You are one with the one. And in that consciousness of the divine, all you need do is like, I'm here. What shall I do now? What is for my highest good? What is for my and the world's highest good? What can I do and who can I be to transform this moment? To lift this day to its highest plane? Your minister is an atheist. Don't believe in a deity out there. I believe in the infinite power within you, the unlimited glory that you are. I believe that everything you need, everything you want is right here, right in your heart, right in your whole beings. And when you know that, when you can say the word God and stand up a little taller, when you can say God and open your heart and mind, you will have come through the wilderness. You will have been tempted and chosen something else. You will have been transformed at core. Many people say, oh, we should just give up the word God because it's so triggered. It triggers so many people. Reverend Paul Hasselbeck, who we've had here many times, says that in one of his books, that we should possibly give up using the word God. Well, I disagree. It's a shorthand for me. It is the shortest word that can describe something that's indescribable. Right? Shortest word that can describe something indescribable. But what I want more than I want to make other people feel less triggered or other people feel less uncomfortable is for me to feel less comfortable. I want you to feel less uncomfortable. I want you to be comfortable in your own skin, and no matter what anyone says, God, Allah, Yahweh, name it, that you can go, oh, they're talking about that divinity that exists within all of us, and not make them bad or wrong or evil for how they describe what we all are. It's an opportunity for us to let go of the trigger, to let go of the flashcard, to let go of what we think and be transformed. Because regardless of what anyone else knows to be the truth, the most important thing is what you hold in your heart. The most important thing is what you hold in your thoughts, in your beliefs. And when you can get that part right, when we all, me included, have been on this journey with you, it has been interesting, to say the least. When we can talk about that, when we can get that alignment right, the rest will fall into place. We talk about this all the time. We can't fix the world from the outside in. We fix it from the inside out. The world we believe will reflect around us. We will see. When we are in alignment with what we understand God, when we can articulate what we understand the divine to be, the world will hear, because we are super clear. Super clear. And there will be no opportunity to misunderstand us. I see your halo. Each and every one of you are a magnificent expression of God. God. Let's make sure we rewire that word for ourselves. Let's take that flashcard out of the deck and spend time making us right. Let's take this to our time of meditation.
Let's
In this very room, we take this time to turn within to this room, our own personal chamber, our own personal heart space. We take time to breathe into this moment and to grieve anything we need to grieve. Letting go of pain and resentment, of loss. Letting go of identification with limitedness. In this very room, we watch now as the light grows bigger and stronger. We watch as this golden light starts to transform our very, very personal space. We watch this golden light as it grows larger and larger, filling our chest cavity, rising up into our throat, into our head, and searing every corner of our mind. This golden light cannot be contained by our bodies. We watch as it pours out of us, through our arms and legs, through our very, very pores, filling this entire room with this same ball of beautiful golden light. We watch, we participate now as we share this light with each other, feeling each and every person here as light beings, as energy waves, and as love itself. In this interaction, in this glorious dance of light, we sit in the silence. Now this light can't be contained by this room alone. It travels endlessly, endlessly, like the light of our sun, continuing out forever, in straight lines in every direction. Know too that your light, your love, your very essence is traveling on beyond you.